The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has cut its global economic forecast for 2020. The fund says the coronavirus pandemic is causing a much steeper recession and a slower recovery than initially accepted or predicted. As a result, the organization is predicting global GDP will contract by 4.9% from its initial 3% forecast in April this year. So my question then is, how will this affect your ball of kinky or my chilled glass of Sobolo? Economist Professor Godfred Boppin joins me via Zoom for more on this. Thanks so much, Paul, for your time this evening. First of all, if you can hear me, this new forecast of GDP growth being downgraded, how is that likely to affect my locally brewed Sobolo or your ball of kinky?
Well, that's interesting. It's as simple as saying that the sharp contraction also will reflect in income losses. Okay, so perhaps it's possible that you have your job secured, but of course, so many people are going to lose their jobs or they have lost their jobs. If you look at the lockdown, the productivity hours lost, it's translating to over 3 million full-time job losses. And that is very, very huge. If you look at it also within sub-Saharan Africa alone, income losses is estimated to be in excess of $200 billion. So that is huge for all of us. Again, if you look at the global forecast that you have looked at, and the fact that Ghana is not an island, certainly is going to drag our growth also back to some extent. We have had our own challenges with the lockdown, and even with the fact that we have eased the lockdown, people naturally are doing some kind of lockdown in order not to expose themselves here and there. So activities, traffic, movement has not reached pre-pandemic level. And therefore, so when output decelerates sharply like that, again, it has implications for consumption volatility and then income volatility.
Right. Before we bring it down to Ghana, Prof, we are told that this is the biggest economic fall since the Great Depression of the 1930s. Does this new projection by the IMF paint a gloomy picture of the global situation?
Yes. This is like a pandemic that we haven't seen in the recent time. In fact, the economic hangover from this pandemic, even at the global level, then you can translate that to regional, national level, is going to go beyond a generation. The scar from this is going to be with us for so many years to come. It's going to change the structure of our society. It already has exposed the level of inequality, educational inequality, wealth inequality along all the dimensions that we have talked about. And that is very huge.
Right. We are running out of time, but Prof, Ghana as a country has largely depended on international support. It looks like there's nowhere to run to now, nowhere cool. And for instance, China, which is one of our main sources of funding, is to log growth of about just 1%. US is projected to shrink by 8%, India by 4.5%. Is this just telling us it is enough signal to us to start looking into the domestic market for revenue generation? We've had this discussion before. How do we go about it?
I think that we have to look within. Our own future depends on us. Of course, regardless of the helping hand that we can find either from US, China, the best helping hand that we can ever find as a country is at the end of our own arm. So we have to look within. And then we have to make sure that we plug all the leakages in our revenue envelope and pursue efficiency in our expenditure patterns. We are not alone in this.
The IMF also said quickly in 30 seconds, the IMF also says that governments across the world have announced nearly $11 trillion in fiscal measures. Have we as a country done well with our fiscal measures?
I think that if you look at the deficit at the global level has increased. In fact, GDP, in terms of, if you look at the extent to which fiscal deficit will translate to that, we are looking at the global level more than 7% and all of that. Of course, within Ghana government has found a very more enabling way of financing the deficit by roping in Bank of Ghana. I think that is a good move, and that should be sustained. But more importantly, we need to pursue efficiency and value for money and how going forward. And that way we'll be able to aid the recovery. then it will also require some kind of realignment in terms of our budget. The global prediction gives Ministry of Finance a better perspective to also come out with their mid-year review, recalibrate the macro numbers, and then we'll have a fair idea of the extent to which the pandemic has affected us, and then also the recovery strategy. But of course, from the IMF report, it's obvious that we are not expecting a quick V-shaped recovery. The recovery is going to take a little longer than we thought.
All right, Prof. And so thank you so much for joining me this evening. I'm grateful for having you.